Hello, good morning, and thank you for tuning in and listening wherever you might be from around the globe. This is episode 32 of our ongoing podcast series, The Anatomy of Modern Romance Scams. I'm Michael B., and once again, I'll be your host. First of all, welcome back. I've been a little out of touch lately, haven't been feeling the best, and I've had massive computer problems. So I've been getting a new desktop set up and trying to keep everything in sync and keep all the plates spinning. It's been a busy few weeks. So thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patience. I didn't want to sit down today because I have a few things I'd like to share with you. First of all, thank you so much. Thank you for continuing to listen. The downloads increase, and I do watch that because it's important. It's not dopamine for me. It just means that the message is getting out to someone. It's getting out to someone's inner circle, to someone that they love. So, again, thank you. Even if there are occasional gaps between episodes, I want you to know I'm still here. And as always, I'll do my best to make sure that our time together is absolutely worthwhile. Today I have a little personal news, and I also want to talk about something that reinforces why I keep doing these podcasts. First, they're still trying. Since my last episode, I've been contacted again, twice on Facebook, and once through a wrong number text to my phone. Every one of them started exactly the same way. Someone I did not know. Someone trying to start a conversation. Very innocuous. A simple question. A very innocent greeting. Looking for one thing. An opening. For me to let my armor down, to let my guard down for just a second, to try and get a conversation going. If you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you're probably tired of hearing me say, delete, block, and block. But that's exactly what I did. I followed my own rule. Was it rude? No. These people could be halfway around the world. You just don't know. You do not know these people. You don't owe them your time. You don't owe them a response, and you certainly do not owe them an explanation. In speaking with several others, it seems one of the hardest things for decent people to accept is that it is completely okay to ignore complete strangers trying to enter your life. We're conditioned to be polite, to be helpful. We're conditioned to be friendly. Romance scammers understand that better than we do. They feed on it, they leverage it, and they depend upon it. So after you delete the message, block the account, walk away, hug your family, do something, call somebody who you know, somebody who's tangible, somebody who's real. And please do not let your mind start playing games with you. Don't tell yourself, well, maybe it really was a wrong number and I was rude. You know what? They did seem nice. Or maybe I was just too harsh. Do not do that. Absolutely not. Don't second guess yourself. In this case, that can be extremely dangerous. Slam the door, bolt it shut, walk away. And don't spend another minute. Don't spend another second thinking about it. That 15-second decision may have protected your retirement, may have protected your marriage, your family. It definitely will protect your future and absolutely will protect your peace of mind. I can't even begin to tell you how much can be saved by those three simple words. Delete, block, and walk. The other thing that I wanted to discuss, as you may have noticed from some of the national news organizations, that the U.S. government And some of the national chapters of crime fighters or scam fighters, if you will, are really taking an active interest in this, especially the U.S. government. They're teaming up with some of the foreign international governments to finally address romance scams and scams in general. And frankly, it's about time. The losses are staggering. I've done some research into that, and globally, they estimate that the losses are between $500 billion to $1 trillion globally annually. But the losses are not just financial. They take such a toll emotionally and psychologically. Families are absolutely being devastated, and lives are being changed forever. The numbers continue to grow because professional criminal organizations have turned deception into an industry. The good news is that more people are finally paying attention. The better news is that awareness prevents victims. One informed person is one less potential victim. I also wanted to share something personal. I wrote another book. It's a recap of much of what we discussed in this podcast. My first book, Ding, Hello Dear, Did You Miss Me?, was my story. It was written while I was still living in the very epicenter of what I call the blast zone. That's when some of the impacts you realize after your false relationship ends come home to roost. Believe me, there are more to come, and yes, those will hurt like hell as well. This new book is different. It asks different questions. What did I learn? Not just about the scammers and how they operate, but about myself, about people who've been victimized, about families, about manipulation, about human nature, about recovery, and about the expensive lessons I wish someone had taught me before I answered one simple message that night. I let my guard down for one brief instant, and it was very costly. I realized that my first book helped people understand what happened. This book explains why it happened, how things unfold, and hopefully how to avoid it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. In your book of life, when you're writing in that, you do not want this to be a chapter in that book. So speaking of this book, I wrote it for people who have never been scammed. I wrote it for people who have been scammed, who are being scammed right now and don't realize it. I wrote it for victims who've been ghosted and are waking up to a life they just never imagined. And I wrote it for families who desperately want to understand what happened to someone they love. And I wrote it especially for those who believe their life is over because of a romance scam. I'm going to stop right here for a moment. People often ask me, do you ever completely recover? My honest answer, I don't know. What I can tell you is this, after speaking with many victims, I'm just guessing, but I would say easily over 50. I've yet to meet someone who told me that they were exactly the same person they were before the scam. They've not fully recovered in one of these aspects of their life. They've not recovered emotionally, financially, or spiritually. The amount of money doesn't seem to matter as much as people think as well. I recently spoke with a young man who lost about $1,000. He was completely and utterly devastated. It was everything he had. I could have told him how much I lost in an effort to make him feel better, but that wouldn't have helped him. The pain isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in what that money represented. For him, it was absolutely everything. That's why comparing losses never really seems to help victims. A romance scam steals much more than money. It steals confidence, trust, relationships. It definitely steals dreams, and sometimes even hope itself. That's what makes these crimes, and they are crimes, so devastating. But here's something I've learned. Even if we never become exactly who we were before, we can still become someone worth being. We rebuild, we reinvent, and we recover. Maybe not perfectly, and definitely not quickly, but we keep moving. One decision at a time, one day at a time, and one step at a time. That's what it takes, and no one is on the same timeline. Recovery and reinvention, if you will, is a very individual process. The only commonality is that it will take effort and it will take time. Likely quite a bit of that. These podcasts have helped me more than I believed was possible. I started then to help warn others about the mechanics, about how romance scams happen, what to look for, but I found that they are helping me along the way as well. Some of you have reached out in fan mail and voiced that this series is helping you. I believe some are more quiet, but I hope these are helping you as well. As I said before, the downloads continue to increase, so the message is getting out, but we have a long way to go. There are millions of people who need this message. There simply is. The FBI postulates that people who do not report these and other scams can be as high as 80%. So think about those numbers and the numbers I shared with you. That multiplier is 80%. Again, the numbers are staggering. We need to turn that number around as well, and believe me, I understand the silence and the shame. Those are real reactions and very real emotions. But we must come together, must keep talking about these, and as families, continue to forgive and band together. Be understanding and don't fight with each other. That is critical. Mistakes are made in life. I've said it before and I truly believe this. I do not think I'm unique when I say the hardest person to forgive is very likely yourself. There's one person who I'm very closely related to. He lost his business and multi-millions. He's really one of my main sources of inspiration. He lost everything. I spoke to him recently. He told me to keep talking about this. He wished he had, not only for himself, but to help others. He said he just clammed up. He couldn't deal with it. He also told me that the sun does come up again, but it is a very slow and painful process, and to expect that there will be a lot of changes. And he said something that really resonated with me because I lost this ability entirely for almost a year. He said, give yourself permission to smile. Give yourself permission to laugh, to experience joy on your journey to finding a new peace for yourself. We also share the same faith. He said that there was no substitute for prayer. So if you're so inclined, I thought I would pass that on as well. He said without them, it will compound the difficulty in the rebuilding and the reinvention process, if that can even start. Of the things we've spoken about throughout this podcast series, I hope this resonates with you deeply. I understand firsthand how difficult this may be. If you're listening for the first time from the very beginning, thank you. If you're new, welcome. And if you're struggling today, please don't give up on yourself. The scam has likely taken a great deal from you, perhaps everything. But it does not get to decide who you become next. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Until next time, take care of yourself, protect your heart, protect everything that you own. Delete, block, and walk away from those messages. And always, always stay safe. I'm Michael B.